Welcome to another episode of this video series where I like to take a photo from camera to final edit inside Lightroom and show all my editing tricks alongside with the Lightroom tools that I developed so people can learn from my editing workflow. Recently, around where I live, we had a sea of clouds, and that's always a good opportunity for nice photos. So let's jump into Lightroom. Took this photo on a RX100 Sony camera. It's a pocket camera that I'm filming this video on right now. ISO 200, f3.5, and 1 over 160 of a second. The settings are pretty mid, and what I was trying to do is not blow out my highlights while also trying not to clip my shadows too much. But let's be honest, this was a very high dynamic range situation, so I had to make a conscious decision if I clip the shadows or I clip the highlights. And I decided to clip the shadows because I knew this was a mostly silhouette type of photo anyway, so it doesn't matter if I don't have a lot of details in this foreground over here. So let's start editing. Of course, first thing first, I'm going to go for camera neutral and discard the very saturated and very contrasty Adobe Color camera profile. Next up, let's get a good white balance, and for that I'm going to go to vibrance and saturation, put them to 100%, and now I'm playing around with the temperature slider until I start to see that the peaks of the clouds over here start to become whitish. And I'm also noticing that now the entire photo has a bit of a green tint, so I'm increasing the magenta and playing with the temperature slider just a bit more to find a neutral point where everything looks like it should be. And if I reset the photo, you can already see how neutral what I have now is compared to what I had before. This is really important because if later on I want to play around with stuff like hue saturation sliders, my picker over here would stay in the blue channel no matter what. But with a good neutral starting point, you can see how it's jumping around in the HSL panel, and I can actually pull on different colors. And next up, let's do the exposure. I'm gonna raise the shadows a bit, lower the highlights, and I'm going to enable the visual aid preset that I just released a few days ago. But really, don't buy this one. It's just a mask that's applied on top of the entire image right here, and it's doing minus 100 saturation, and very importantly it's set to 200%. You can find it on my store, but I do have way better stuff up there. With this enabled, I'm going to start applying local mask in order to create depth into the image. And I'll start by adding a radial gradient, which I'm going to use to decrease the exposure in the lower part of the image. Let's do one more linear gradient from top to bottom. I want to use it to accentuate the contrast in the sky. Also, I'm going to reduce the exposure, increase the contrast just a bit. And now let's use a few radial gradients from which I'm going to subtract the subject and add a bit more highlights in the middle over here. Wanted to make it a bit bigger. Also, maybe increase the white just a bit to get a more vignette look overall. And now let's start stacking them. Like I said before, it's gonna be way harder to notice if you have more than one mask that achieves a thing than if you have just a gradient that's really easy for the human eye to spot. In most of these masks so far, I've done negative exposure values, but now let's take it one step further and use the curves in order to start losing details in this foreground where I don't want the snow to be that visible. I'm lowering the exposure across the entire spectrum with the curve line and also lifting the black point just a bit. Let's toggle the visual helper off and see where we are. The lower part is way too dark and I've added too much contrast, so let's tune it down just a bit, but I'm going to come back to this in a moment. Let's play around with the presence. I'm gonna add a bit of clarity and a bit of texture to the photo. And now let's go back to masking because I want the entire background over here to look way more 3D. And to achieve that, you basically want to create contrast. So let's see. One more radial gradient from which I'm going to subtract a linear gradient, so it only affects the clouds, and let's intersect it based on luminosity in such a way that it targets just the clouds in the foreground. You're gonna see what I meant in just a second. Now, if I reduce the exposure a bit more and also subtract the subject, you can see that I'm starting to create contrast in this part over here, and there's a lot more depth to the image. I'm also gonna raise the shadows a bit more because this part is way too dark. And I'm going to come back to the exposure in just a bit, but for now I'm turning off the visual aid. I want to focus just a bit on color work so I have a better idea of where I'm heading with my image. I'm going to look through the color response curve presets that I do have on my website. I like to use them as building blocks to create the color palette in my final edit. And I think today Ektachrome 100 is a strong contender for a very natural color palette. And I'm just going to apply it, increase the amount a bit, and I can see that I'm clipping the highlights over here. So I'm going to fix that in my curves. That's typical with Ektachrome. As you can see over here in the red channel, it has this peak right here that we can play around with, but I prefer to just tone it down a bit with the luminance curve. I'm also gonna increase the saturation a bit more. And also to get a better idea of the look that I'm going after, I'm gonna apply my all-in-one grain preset. And I bet everyone already knows this one is applying grain based on the luminosity values in the photo, more grain in the highlights and midtones and less in the shadows, while also decreasing the sharpness in the shadows. That's something that naturally occurs on film, and I'm doing it to get realistic looking grain. Also, you can find this one on my preset store as well. Coming back to my image, I think it's finally time to do some clone stamping and cropping to get rid of all the distractions in the bottom part. First of all, I'm gonna remove this water reservoir or whatever it is. Also, I'm gonna do a bit of cropping. I know this image is going to end up on Instagram, so most probably it's gonna be 4 by 5. But I don't feel that the crop right now allows it. So maybe I'll do some content aware scaling in the end. But for now, I know that I want to remove some of the distractions in the bottom part. And I feel that something like this is a much better composition anyway. Also, I want to level the horizon line or at least get it somewhat close. For that, I'm using the transform panel, offset set it a bit to the left because over here I had that trunk that was looking really nasty, and rotate the image just a bit for a more horizontal look overall. I'm gonna go back in my mask that's adding darkness in the bottom part of the image and tweak it some more, because in the end I don't want the snow to be visible at all, but most probably I will have to do some clone stamping either in here or in Photoshop, but I'm not gonna make you watch that. But what I am gonna do is enable the chromatic aberration and profile correction in my photo right here, and also scroll down to the color grading wheels and add a tiny bit of red in my shadows, a bit of orange in my midtones, and a bit of cyan green in my highlights, but this one is gonna be really subtle, something like saturation 5 is probably enough. I really wish Lightroom made this scale a lot easier to adjust, because I honestly feel that anything more than 20 it's most probably overdone. Maybe, okay, let's say 30, but honestly we don't need 100 on these scales, and it's really hard to adjust them in the lower part. Like if I want to hit something like 7, it's impossible without having to come in here, and I really like to have all the wheels on screen all the time. I'm also going to push the blending option a bit higher and balance it towards the highlights, and now I'm going back to black and white, toggling the color grading off, of course, and I'm gonna adjust my masking a bit more. Starting with this one, I want a bit more darkness in the upper part of the image to create more depth. Basically, I want the entire image to be like a gradient that starts from dark, goes into the very bright spot along the horizon line and goes back to dark zones in the foreground over here. So what I'm gonna do is one more linear gradient from the top of the image. This one is gonna be a lot more contrasty and a lot darker. I'm also gonna look for the mask that I did with the clouds, play around some more there, decrease the shadows a bit so the peaks look a lot brighter. And I also want one more mask that's gonna be along the horizon line. Make it a bit taller and a bit smoother. And I'm gonna add some contrast over here as well. That doesn't do a lot. So let's use the curves. I'm gonna drop a spot on the highlights, one in the midtones, and one of this hill right here. That's gonna be our shadows. Highlights are going to go up and shadows are gonna go down. Get a bit more contrast there. That's little to no effect. So maybe let's tweak it some more. Something like this might actually work. I'm seeing that here is transition that I don't like, so I'm gonna finesse that a bit more. Let's see how it looks with color. Much better. We have more three-dimensionality to the entire image, but I still have the problem of the part that's down here. So let's try and finesse it a bit more as well. The thing is that I do want the foreground to be just a bit warmer to create some color contrast with the sky. I'm gonna inject a bit of color temperature in the shadowy part and also a bit of magenta. I'm really starting to like how this looks. Also, let's add a bit of vignetting. By the way, while using the post-crop vignetting, if you are holding down Alt or probably Option on a Mac, you can see how it would look with the amount set to 100. So you can have a better idea of what you're doing while sliding around the midpoint, roundness, and feather sliders. So I'm going to do -10 and then just hold Alt so I can see what I'm doing and what shape do I want for my vignetting. I want it to be rather high and with a lot of feathering, something like this. And now I can see that my mask combined with this is a bit much. And I think a good solution would be to increase the shadows in this mask that's a bit broader. So I don't get this very dark cloud over here. I'm also going to bump the shadows in the entire image some more because I do want my skin to look natural around this part. And again, I have to darken the bottom part. And while this looks really repetitive, and I'm pretty sure some of you are already bored of it, going back and forth like this is actually very helpful while editing because you get to adjust things based on the other stuff that you did. Like there's no magic number that you can just input and have a good photo at the end of the day. So have patience and keep finessing the mask to get a better image. Another thing that I'm going to do is apply a filmic tone limiter. This one is another tool that I sell on my preset. It's giving me some amount of fade, but not just by lowering the white point and raising the black point, as that would affect the values across the entire image, basically leaving the midtones untouched while creating a filmic toe and a filmic shoulder. Today I'm going with number 8, which is looking a little bit like this. It has a few more tweaks around here in the highlight zone to get a certain look. I'm also going to lift the black point just a bit myself and add a bit more of a toe. Again, trying not to clip out completely the bottom part, but also keeping in mind that I don't want almost any detail in that part. Just have the foreground and the silhouette of my jacket be a bit separated. And I'm gonna go to color grading and re-enable the wheels because I'm finally focusing on color. Now it seems a bit too warm and I'm gonna tone down the red in the shadows a bit more. And another thing that I want is a bit of a warmer tone all around the horizon line. And I know that I have a mask that's applying to specifically that area in which I'm gonna go and increase the color temperature a bit more. You can see it turns a bit greenish, so I'm gonna add magenta to counteract that. And I'm starting to like the overall look in the image. Maybe it's still a bit dark for my taste, so let's play around with curves. And I'm also going to check what I can do with the calibration panel. In here, I know that if I want to add warmth to the photo, I'm increasing the saturation in the red channel, which is not the case, so I'm gonna reduce it just a bit. And since this photo is mainly blue and orange, let's focus on our blue primary. This way I can get a lot more saturation in the photo fast. And I'm also going to tune the curves a bit more. It still feels pretty contrasty to me, but I have to keep in mind that I have a huge light source beaming in my face, so I can film this video, but that's not helping me judge the image correctly. But what I can tell for sure is that the image is a bit warm, and especially this middle portion over here, it's a bit desaturated. So I'm gonna use the mask that I've already created for the clouds, and I'm gonna add a bit more blue in that area because after all, this is a winter shot. And also, I'm thinking of the global color wheel. Maybe I can add a bit of blue in here as well, but again, pretty subtle. I'm also going to increase the brightness just a bit in the clouds so they are more apparent. And one more thing that looks really unnatural to me is this yellow cloud over here. I think it's way too dark and way too saturated considering it was the only thing that was directly hit by a sun. So I'm gonna add a bit of luminance in the yellows. Just that I have to pay attention not to blow out this entire area as well. And because this doesn't work, I'm gonna reset it, create a new mask. I'm gonna use the radial gradient, select just the cloud over here, and instead I'm using a point color. I'm picking the yellow of the cloud and I'm playing with the luminance over here so I don't disturb the entire image just because I don't like the hue of a certain cloud. And I think it's about time for me to jump in Photoshop and start cleaning out the little details. I'm not gonna bore you with that, and instead, I'm gonna say thank you for watching this entire Lightroom video. This is the image that I started with, and this is my final edit. I hope you enjoyed it and you learned something along the way. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, maybe share it with a photographer friend, and I'll see you in the next one.